1. The Trail from the Seven Caves. Before 1299. The girl heard the voices of those who loved her in her head. They had petted her, sung to her, told her she was their precious shining gem, their light silken feather. She knew now she would never hear those voices again. They had warned her that it might come to this, that she might one day be taken in war and lose everything, that every flower was fragile. Now the worst had indeed come. For a time, terror left her mind blank. But after she slept for a few hours, she was able to remind herself what her mother and grandmother had taught her she must do. So it was that in the year 1299, Shieldflower looked upon her own death and found the courage to pass from this earthly life with the dignity and style that befit a royal woman. At least so her people said in the stories they told of her for many generations after. Sometimes they called her not Chimalxochitl, Shieldflower, spelled Chimalxochitl, but the more valiant Chimalexochitl, spelled Chimalexochitl, meaning shield-bearer flower. Her ancestors, going back 6 or more generations, had been among the last of the people to leave the desiccated, war-torn lands of the American Southwest and begin a trek across the expanse of desert in search of the rumored southern lands. Some 200 years had passed before their descendants made it to the central basin of Mexico, and the tales of the land's fertility had all proven to be true. Here the precious maize crop grew easily, yet they found that the best lands had already been conquered by other bands of warriors from the north, people who were just as good with a bow and arrow as Shieldflower's grandfather and his warriors. In the absence of a better alternative, Shieldflower's kin hired themselves out as mercenaries, fighting other people's battles in exchange for the right to make their camp unmolested, hunt a few deer, and plant a little corn. But the year 1299 had brought misfortune to her people. Indeed, their luck had been so poor that one storyteller would later insist that it had not all happened in a year 2 reed, as everyone else said, but rather in a year 1 rabbit. 1 rabbit was always associated with disaster. There was even an old saying, "We were really 1 rabbited," meaning we were really up a creek. In any case, Shieldflower's father judged that his people had grown strong enough to cease living in fear.